Let's make some delicious sweet muffins to give to co-workers for Mother's Day. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. So I decided I want to make some delicious sweet muffins to share with the ladies I work with for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is Sunday. But first we need to go back in time because we needed brown sugar. So in the mixing bowl with the paddle attachment, we're just going to add 4 cups of sugar. And then we're just going to add a couple tablespoons of molasses. The light to darkness ratio of brown sugar is the amount of molasses. So we're going to try 2 tablespoons. If we need to add more, we'll add more. If it's too dark, we can always add more sugar. And that is it. So simple to make homemade brown sugar. I do like to give it a stir. Just make sure there's no molasses attached to the side walls of this bowl. And I store it in mason jars. And if I had to guess on the type of brown sugar this is, I would say it's a medium. It's not dark, but it's not light either. So simple to make brown sugar. If you have cane sugar and molasses, you can make as much brown sugar as your heart desires, and you can make it light or you can make it dark, or if you're like me, somewhere in the middle. So let me tell you the game plan today. We're gonna make a pineapple muffin, a cinnamon coffee cake muffin, double chocolate muffin. It's cocoa powder and chocolate chips, an apple pie muffin using our home canned apple pie filling, and a blueberry muffin. So, all right, so we need to go ahead and get started. Which one do we want to make first? Let's make the blueberry muffin. I went ahead and bought, I had a 12 count regular muffin pan. I don't know where it is. I think I lent it to someone years ago and I don't know where it is. So I went ahead and picked up 2 more so we can make 2 batches at the same time and put them in the oven. Not 2 batches of the same kind, but we could put 2 batches in the oven. All right, so let's get started. Let me gather the ingredients for the blueberry muffins and then we'll get that ready. Okay. Footage got lost. So in here I have 2 cups of flour, a cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, a half a cup of melted butter, half a cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We just mixed that together. I'm sorry the footage got lost. I do apologize. I have some frozen blueberries. We're going to go in, and this recipe calls for either frozen or fresh. Frozen is what we have, frozen is what we're using. Get that mixed in. Just go ahead and scoop it up. If you have one of those little cookie cutter scoops or cookie scoops, that would work fine. We don't have one, so we're just going to work with what we have. We want to try to get this into 12 lined muffin tins. Make sure we get some blueberries in each one. Okay, that looks good. So the streusel topping is 1/4 cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of regular sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of butter. We just want to get in here and mix the butter in with this flour cinnamon mixture. So I'm just using the back end of a fork. Alright, that is good. And we're going to put some of this on each one of these muffins. Make sure we get some butter. And some of that flour, cinnamon, sugar mixture. I do want to sweep around just to make sure that none of that butter is going to be on the pan itself. .400-degree oven for 20 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get everything cleaned up, and then we'll work on the next recipe. The next one we're going to cook is a double chocolate chip muffin. So in the bowl I have 1½ cups of flour, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, forgot the sugar, hold on one second, 3/4 cups of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It calls for vegetable oil. I don't use vegetable oil. I am using 1/3 cup of coconut oil that is melted, a cup of chocolate chips, and a cup of milk. Whisk all the dry ingredients together, and the chocolate chips we're using is a milk chocolate chips. And we need 2 eggs. and a half a teaspoon of vanilla. Mix everything together. And now we're going to scoop this into 12 muffin tins lined with paper. Oh no, you know it's not Gramy's kitchen unless we make a mess. I do want to clean up our muffin tin just a little bit, just so we don't have a mess while it's cooking, and it'll make our muffins look ugly. So we gotta wait till those blueberry muffins to come out because that is set at 400 degrees and we need this to bake at 350. So we're at a standstill for at least another 4 minutes. I can get started on some dishes. While we're waiting, we need to make sure a toothpick will insert into the muffin and come out clean. If it doesn't, we need to cook it just a bit longer. The time is up on the blueberry muffins. Look how pretty they are. They are not ready. I'm going to put it back in the oven and we'll check it again in about 10 more minutes. I was able to get all the dishes done while we're waiting, putting the chocolate chips in there. But we're still cooking the blueberries. They're at different temperatures, so we can't cook them at the same time. But we need to figure out which one do we want to cook next. I think we'll do the cinnamon coffee cake muffins. That sounds good. See you in a few more minutes as soon as those blueberries come out. The additional 10 minutes is up. Oh yeah, they look done now. Let's try a toothpick. Perfect. I'm going to set these aside just so they cool off a bit. Turn the temperature to the oven down to 300. And now this is ready to go in. I do want to take them out of the pan so the pan can cool off so we can get started on the second batch, the third batch. So I'm going to move them over into this wire rack. Just using a fork to help pull them out. Oh, they're so beautiful and just, oh, gorgeous. I do need to wash this. Go ahead and get everything ready for the third muffin. Cinnamon coffee cake. So in here I have, the recipe is an 8 muffin recipe. I wanted 12. So we are multiplying this by 1.5. So I have 2 1/4 cups of flour, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, 3 teaspoons baking powder, a 1/3 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Mix that together. Make sure we get all those ingredients mixed in very well. And I have 1 1/8 cup of milk, and we need 3 eggs. And it calls for 3 teaspoons of vanilla. That looks good. I like breaking the eggs in the milk. That helps get it distributed in the dry ingredients a lot better. All right, into the dry ingredients we go. And we have a 1/2 cup of butter, melted and cooled. Mix that together. So the crumb topping, I have a 1/2 cup of flour, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1½ tablespoons of regular sugar, 3/4 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 3 tablespoons of butter. Again, we just want to crumble the butter up into this mixture using the back of a fork. Just get in there with your hands and break it up. Be a whole lot faster. I am going to use a measuring cup this time. So I have a 1/4 cup measure. Nope, I have a 1/3 cup measure. And we want to divide this equally among 12 lined muffin tins. We need to clean that up before we go any further. And then we're going to put the crumb on the top, just like we did with the blueberries. So this time, we're going to use a tablespoon measure. Much easier. Make sure we get some butter, cinnamon, and sugar in each one. Oh, perfect. Now the cinnamon coffee cake has to bake in a 375-degree oven for 15 minutes. The double chocolate chips are in the oven still. They have 5 minutes left. That needed to cook for 25 minutes. So we still have 4 minutes left on that 25, and then we'll check to see if it's done. Then we'll take it out, and then we'll raise the temperature to 375, and then we'll put the cinnamon coffee cake in there. If not, we'll have to continue cooking those. 25 minutes is up. Ooh, look at that. That's so pretty. I need to raise the temperature to 375. Let's check these, see if they're done. Oh, perfect. I'm going to set these aside and let them cool. They smell delicious. As soon as the temperature reaches 375, we're going to put our cinnamon coffee cake muffins in there. This needs to cook for 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and get the island organized, and we'll get started on the 4th muffin. So the pineapple muffins. I have 2 cups of flour, a half a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt. Mix that in. Now this recipe calls for an 8-ounce can of crushed pineapples. I have a 14-ounce can of chunk pineapples. So I reserved the liquid and just put the rest of it in a food processor, and then I just crushed it myself. So it's more than 8 ounces, but it says we need to save about 2 tablespoons of the crushed pineapple. And then the rest, I'm just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in here. I know it's a 14-ounce can versus an 8-ounce can, but that's okay. We have 3/4 cups of milk. We need to add 1 egg. Give that a whisk. So we're going to dump the milk and eggs in here, and a 1/4 cup of melted butter or a half a stick. Mix that all together. All right, we're going to set that aside. And to our pineapples that we reserved, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of pineapple juice. We're just going to eyeball it. That looks good. Set that aside. And now we need to make our topping. So we need a half a cup of flour. We need a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. A 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And we need a 1/4 cup of butter. All right, break that butter into this mixture. I find it easier just to do it with our hands. And the rest of the pineapple juice we get to drink. All right, so let's go ahead and spoon some into 12 line muffins. I absolutely love pineapple. Anything pineapple is so good. Perfect. Now we're going to put our crumb mixture on top. We'll set this aside for a second. Let's check on our coffee cake muffins. They kind of like mushroomed out, but that's okay. I extended the time for 10 more minutes. I'm going to extend the time for another 5 minutes. Now back to the pineapple muffins. So this is their reserved crushed pineapple with some pineapple juice. We're just going to sprinkle just a little bit right there on the top. Oh no, I shorted one. That's okay. We're gonna borrow a little bit from him and a little bit from him. Oh, that's good. All right, so this needs to go into a 375-degree oven, which that's what we have it set for right now, for 25-30 minutes. And we will check that in 25 minutes, see if it's ready. We have 2 minutes left on the cinnamon coffee cake muffins. Whew, a lot of words. Let's check this for doneness. Perfect. All right, so we need to let these cool off, and we'll put these on the rack also. And then we only have one recipe left to make today. So the next recipe we're going to make is an apple pie filling muffins. And we get to use our home canned apple pie filling. Now this recipe calls for self-rising flour. That is something I don't normally keep in my house. Not running to the store just to get a 5-pound bag of flour. So I'm using our all-purpose flour, and I've added ingredients to make it into a self-rising flour. So in this bowl I have 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I added 2 teaspoons of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to make sure all those ingredients are well blended. We have 3/4 cups of milk. We're going to add 1 egg. And this is a pint-sized jar of apple pie filling. I do want to mix that in with all the liquid that's in here. Now the recipe says to cut these apples up. I am not going to bother with that. Oh family, that smells so good. We're going to put half in our milk and egg mixture. We're just going to eyeball it. That looks good. And I have a 1/3 cup of melted coconut oil. Her recipe calls for vegetable oil, but we don't use vegetable oil in our house. Try to get that as mixed up as best as possible. And we're going to dump that into our dry ingredients. Mix that in really well. And then we're going to divide this into 12 line muffins. This is a 1/3 cup measure. And the pineapple muffins, I did extend it for 10 more minutes. It was not ready. Perfect. We're going to put just a little bit of apples right there on the top. Oh, you can just smell the cinnamon. This apples, it smells delicious. Perfect. There's the pineapple muffins. Check those for doneness. Oh, perfect. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven for 22 to 25 minutes. We're going to set it for 22. Check on it and see if it needs to go further. But family, this is our bounty. So we have our blueberry muffins, double chocolate muffins, cinnamon coffee cake muffin, pineapple muffin, and the apple pie muffin is in the oven. And I picked up 3 packs of 3-count small cake boxes. They're 8 by 8 by 4. I have 9 ladies that I work with, and I want to make sure everybody gets some muffins. So we're just waiting on the apple pie muffin, waiting for everything to cool down, and then we can go ahead and package these up and then give them to the ladies. Okay, the apple pie muffins are out. Let's check it. Perfect. So the recipe said it needed to cook for 22 to 25 minutes. Put them in there for 22. They were nowhere near done. So I extended it for 10 minutes. Still a little moist on the inside when I put the toothpick, so I extended it for another 5 minutes. So mine took 37 minutes. But they're all done. We need to let them cool off completely before we put them in the boxes. But I'm happy. We did this. We did this together. So all the muffins have cooled. We're going to go ahead and box them up. And I'm just putting some tissue paper on the bottom. And I'm putting 1 each of the muffins in here. Make sure everybody gets one of everything. What am I missing? Blueberry. Okay, blueberry. Just like that. So I picked up these boxes from Walmart. Some assembly required. So we're putting an apple, a pineapple, chocolate, blueberry, and the cinnamon. Just like that. How cute is that, family? Since we're going to stop at Barbara's, the next time we go to work, I want to make sure she has some muffins also. I'll give her 2 chocolates. So we're going to take this to Barbara's, and this is for us. So we have 9 boxes of 5 each, 1 of each flavor of muffins going to the ladies I work with. Plus I'm giving 6 to Barbara. Plus we have 9. So I want to take this opportunity to wish you a very, very happy Mother's Day. If you have a mom, please call her and wish her a happy Mother's Day. And I hope your children call you and wish you a happy Mother's Day. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up while you're at it. Please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. Right over here, you're going to see 2 videos. Go check those out to the next upload. They're going to inspire you to get into your kitchen or give you a chuckle. Either one is fine with me. So until the next time we get into kitchen and cook a delicious meal or gift together, y'all have a happy Mother's Day. Bye, family.